Hello, everybody. This week, I wanted to talk about being self employed again and leaving corporate and whether we actually miss anything to do with, well, corporate slash the big four. I put up a story box on my, like a question box, sorry, on my Instagram stories a few weeks ago about being self employed and having left full time employment because I think at the time it was like 9 months since I'd left. And I had a lot of interest around missing the benefits part. And it's something I thought about when I was leaving. And on reflection, when people were asking me that, I was thinking about if there's anything specific I miss and if it really weighed heavily on my decision. I thought it could be interesting for us to talk about because whilst I chose to exit that situation, Farah was like,
No choice.
yeah, Farah was like, "Oh, you don't get these benefits anymore." So I feel like our answers to that might be maybe a little bit different. But do you miss the benefits, Farah? Have you thought about it since leaving? Like when you went through the redundancy as well, did the benefits not being a thing anymore, did that make you feel a type of way?
Yeah, so as you were saying it, I was trying to remember what the benefits actually were because I never got to a stage where I had like a car benefit or, do you know, there's extra things that you can get later down the line
Yeah.
that is obviously better and a better perk and what people rely on. The only thing I can actually think of, which is something that I only got in the last like year I was there, is I signed up to the PMI and I got therapy through that. And
Wait,
that
so that's the private medical
Yeah,
insurance. Yeah.
yeah. But I never had that. It was an optional benefit for many years, and then it became a mandatory thing, I think, as in they just gave it to everyone.
Oh yeah, it used to be optional and then they gave it to
Yeah.
everyone. Yeah, I
So I
remember
never
that.
had it the whole time I was there. So it probably wouldn't have been something I missed because I never opted for it before. But then when it became something that they just included as everyone's benefit, I obviously took advantage of using it for therapy. And I got therapy in the last, I want to say, couple months before I ended up getting made redundant. And obviously, then when I got made redundant and I left, that stopped and I didn't get that anymore. And therapy is quite expensive, you know. I remember I had to pay the excess fee of £100. And I was just thinking, if I had to pay for all these sessions, I think in total I ended up having 12 sessions. And obviously, if you're employed and now you've got a job, you could probably afford that. But it wasn't something that I was going to now be unemployed and then go and pay the extra money for. So that is definitely something I missed in the beginning because I was like, I'd kind of done my sessions and I was happy with where I was at that point, luckily. But I thought if I ever wanted to go back, that's now something I have to consider. Or do I want to fork out for that? And do I see the benefit? Well, I know the benefit, but it's just one of those things that feels like a nice to have. Whereas in corporate, I kind of just got that handed to me on a plate, which is kind of nice. And obviously, there's more to it than just therapy. There's also insurance for other medical things as well. So I remember I went to them about my PMDD as well, which was really helpful. But I I don't know, other than that, I can't really think of anything because you used to be able to buy holidays as a benefit, which is something I did,
Yeah, I
like
did that
extra
every single
days.
year since I joined. Yeah.
I think you got like an extra 10 at
Up to
maximum.
10. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would buy those. And it was good because then if you didn't use them, you could just get your money's back for it. But even that, I'm just thinking, well, I don't miss that because every day feels like a holiday to
Yeah,
me
you can
now.
choose that now.
Yeah, and I think what I used to do, say for example, like now you could say, oh, well, I don't really get a holiday or I don't get paid to go on holiday. Obviously, if you take a break from your corporate job, you literally are getting paid to be away for those set days that you get as part of your package. But when I used to take holiday, I would then go and do what I do now for a living. So
Yeah,
I'm
that
kind of
too.
like, what is that just doesn't seem like a benefit to me because I'm literally just doing that full time. And I don't need to take a holiday from this kind of job, I don't think. But I guess it was just nice because I didn't really enjoy that job that much. So obviously, I've appreciated being able to have the days where you could completely switch off. Whereas this job, I don't really mind so much. It doesn't always feel like a really intense job. You'll have moments where you're more stressed than others, but all in all, it's not like that at all. So I can't say that that is the benefit I miss. What are the other benefits, Steph? Because I can't think of anything else but those two.
I'm trying to think as well, like apart from the standard workplace benefits, things like your pension and the employer
Oh,
contribution. Like
yeah.
that is something I feel like if you're self-employed and you used to have a full-time job, you'd miss just because the way the infrastructure is set up in the UK is that if you're self-employed, you obviously miss out on that.
Mm,
The extra little bit of free money, it's only just you can reduce your tax liability, I think, as a business owner, or if you're doing it the self-assessment route as well. But the pension is difficult for me to miss the extra money because I don't have a ceiling on how much I can earn now.
yeah.
So, oh yeah, I don't get this like free money from an employer, but actually I could make triple my salary without having to ask anyone or work triple as hard.
And then put even more into your pension.
And then put even more into my pen. Yeah, exactly. And actually also I can access that whenever I want as well.
Yeah, that's the thing with the workplace pension. I don't miss it because I could never touch that money. Maybe 75-year-old me will miss the opportunity for the employer to put more into that, because I did like seeing the number almost double. The contribution number was double because it wasn't just what I put in, it was what they put in as well, which is nice to see grow. But I can't say I missed that because I never reaped the benefits of it yet. That would have been something me in the future would have actually noticed, and it would have had an impact on me then. But like you said, it's not something that's fully been taken away. In fact, it's something that I now have the opportunity to grow even bigger and have better benefits from outside of corporate, because it was always based on your salary and your earnings, whereas now I don't have a salary. So it could be any number.
Yeah. And you can flex that as much as you want.
Exactly.
I think the other thing that is also potentially very easy to miss, but we just don't miss it, is things like maternity and paternity leave.
Yes.
And being able to maybe feel a bit more or have a bit more of a blanket, and also again with the pension have a few more options to keep that going while you're away rather than having to think about it ahead of time. But again, for me, see, this is because I battle everything. This goes hand in hand with the fact that, well, if I was planning for a child, I would then strategize my business in a way that was going to cover me, or maybe I could make a bit of extra income for the period that I might decide, oh, I actually want to step away from the business full time while I take care of the child, or I want to maybe get Sam to step away from his work and I can try and earn more. There's flexibility that makes up for the lack of benefit. So again, every time I think, do I miss this benefit? The little angel, I don't know, maybe devil on the other side of my shoulder is like, well, no, because it didn't matter anyway.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't actually know how much I would be missing out on, how much they actually give you for maternity pay. I don't actually know how much that is to think, oh, a lot for me to have lost. But like you said, I think you'd have 9 whole months to figure out your own business and how you're going to move forward in terms of if you wanted to take your own maternity leave in your own business once your baby was born, how you would manage that. I think it would be more stressful now, just knowing that you're in charge of how big that buffer is versus you being given that money from your firm, because like you're having that leave and you are employed.
Like the responsibility falls on you.
Yeah, exactly. It's how much harder can you work in the interim, or how much more money can you bring in right here, right now, or how are you going to spread things out to make sure that you have enough for the time that you are off, and how much time can you take off because of all those things. Maybe your maternity leave might be a lot shorter working for yourself. I don't know if it would be sustainable, because I feel like with our line of work, you kind of do have to be in it. I don't have anything I can earn passively right now. As in, if I had a brand deal come through, or if I had a wedding booking come through, I have to be the one to go and do that work. So it's not something that I could let tick away in the background and just generate money. So that's maybe something I would think about in those 9 months, is can I create something that would still generate me money, even if I wasn't actively working on it or going somewhere providing a service. But that's obviously something you'd have to think about versus working in a corporate firm. You just take that time off and they're still paying you because that's the benefit of being employed.
Yeah. And I think when people were asking me like, "Oh, do you miss the benefits?" I think it's if you think in terms of what life stage you are in and also what you're like when it comes to, especially as a woman, maybe like having to think about maybe when your circumstances will change either temporarily or more permanently and how you'll navigate that. Because I'm very comfortable with the fact that like we're both creator economy. The business model that we have is super flexible, super diverse in the way that we could decide to earn an income or even find work. There's so many different ways we could do it. So it kind of depends when you are self-employed what exactly it is you're doing, because like you said, if you don't have passive income, we could actually just think ahead of time and think, okay, well actually I need passive income for this period of time, so then I can start to think about how to bring that in my business. Whereas maybe if you don't work in the creator economy, that's maybe not a question or that's not something you can think about. So then there's a lot more agency that you have to kind of take in figuring out how you're going to navigate through uncertainty in your career financially. And then that's where the balance of, okay, well, do I miss the benefits or not comes in a bit more, because as someone who's entered a really flexible industry, I don't miss anything about the benefits apart from the private medical insurance.
Yeah.
As well. But then if I maybe entered a different industry or I was contracting or maybe I was freelancing in a very specific niche where, again, like you say, maybe I am the person providing a very specific service and I couldn't turn that, well, make it passive, maybe it would be a completely different question. Actually, I'd think about getting a job or maybe actually just building a bit of a sinking fund or saving with my own personal money, saving up for a pregnancy or something like that, you know? So I think it's difficult to like, I feel like I'm being way too vague and annoying by being like, I miss nothing. Because that's just a stage of life I'm at.
No, but that's a pretty definitive answer, I think. I don't think that's very big at all because I think, yeah, if I look at all the benefits that we got at that stage, and we have to bear in mind as well, we weren't at the peak level of the benefits that you could get. I know that the more senior you get, the better the benefits are. So maybe someone looking at losing those kinds of benefits, you might have a different opinion. But I think the level that we were at and the benefits that we had, I don't think they were any reason to stay, if that makes sense. If that's your only reason you're staying at a company for the benefits, I don't think those were enough.
That's a good point, actually, because the other thing I was thinking about is the fact that I don't miss the benefits is maybe a bit of an amber flag in terms of why don't you make it good enough to miss?
True.
Because I've got friends who I appreciate these are cool, potentially smaller companies based in London. When I say cool, I'm just talking about industries like tech and innovative things like that, who they would never let go of the benefits because they've got things like nursery costs maybe covered, or their office has daycare and they get their gym membership covered, or there's certain aspects of their life that the company have cared enough about to actually include in the benefits. And they're kind of like, well, actually, my lifestyle is being supported by my work and it would cost me more personally to do this on my own if I went out contracting or whatever. So yeah, the benefits are a huge deal, especially I think things that are related to childcare. So in that way, sometimes I think, well, maybe that's easier to miss because you've actually really impacted someone's life and their costs. In the definition of benefits, that's a huge one.
Yeah, it definitely comes down to how is that impacting your life. Because otherwise, if it's not, there's literally... It's so funny though, because these benefits are literally created to keep people, but they're not doing a good job then, are they?
Oh, that's a good point, because in the, like my social media consumption levels before I quit my job, and actually was in particular Courtney Johnson on TikTok, she talked a lot about how the benefits and the structure of benefits, especially in corporate, kind of exist to prevent you from doing things on your own or starting your own business, because you see them as benefits rather than something that actually keep you trapped in a job. And it's a reframe of things that are maybe not basic needs, but here's a perk that you might not need.
Needing time off work, yeah. Needing a break, needing medical care.
Like holidays.
It's all dangling something that actually you need to survive, almost.
Therapy. Yeah. It's like dehydrating you and then dangling a little bottle of water in front of you and then being like,
and being like, oh, well, we can provide this to you, but you have to be locked in.
Yeah.
For the rest
to
of
sign
your
that
life.
contract. Yeah. But I think it's true because, again, not to make this about the creator economy and our business models, but with the benefits, even if we missed them and if we paid for private medical insurance, it would only reduce our tax liability. It would actually benefit us still in a way, even though we might have slightly higher costs. It's not something that we're like, oh, now I have to pay out of pocket for this. Actually, no, it's like I would maybe prefer to pay out of pocket. Well, actually pay for it through my own business because it reduces my own tax liability and I can still earn as much as I want.
That's true, actually. I didn't think about it like that. You can literally be your own provider of
benefits.
I'll give myself the benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you actually do reduce your own taxes and costs for your business. So yeah, why wouldn't you do that? I feel like these things, yeah, they're definitely doable. I just haven't looked into them enough to know, if I was to do that myself, how much is that? And then how much is it that being a benefit at a corporate firm, how much am I losing now as a result of me having to take care of it myself? I just don't know those figures, and I've not have felt the need to look into it. So I feel like that's probably why I'm like,
Yeah, it's a big sign that you're the fact that you don't
think
even
about it.
Feel like you need to look into it. Yeah, exactly. Is there anything else you feel like you miss about even full-time work? Because
I actually did a video about this the other day about like things I miss about working at a Big Four.
oh, did you?
Yeah, but there wasn't many. And one of them was the structure, because I've just been talking to you off camera about me struggling to find a structure of working independently. And I think I'm kind of getting the hang of it now, but it's obviously been a whole year in the making of me flexibly working and just kind of doing things as and when I please, and not really having, except for brand deadlines, there's never a deadline for me to post a video. No one's going to care if I don't post a video this week. No one's going to fire me from my job. It's not that serious. So it's very easy to just not, and it's very easy to put stuff off, and it's very easy to not take things as seriously as you would a project at work where people are depending on you to get your shit together. So I have struggled with finding my own structure a little bit, or being consistent with a structure. And I did like the feeling at an actual 9-to-5 job where you'd get all your work done and I could actually shut my laptop off at the end of the day and literally not have to think about anything to do with work till the next morning. Whereas now I never get that. I'm thinking about it all the way until my literal eyes or my subconscious takes over when I'm sleeping. Until that point, I'm constantly thinking about work. And it's not like the work is not a fun thing to think about. So it's not that torturous, but I do feel like it would be nice to be able, I just feel like my brain doesn't have a switch anymore where I can just turn off, and I don't think there's a point where I just stop thinking about work like I used to.
You know what? I completely agree. But I actually, on the flip side of you missing that, I resent the fact that my brain works like that, because honestly, since leaving, like I've been self-employed for 9-10 months now, and I am still struggling to not feel guilty for not working between the hours of generally like 8 and 6. If I'm not doing something productive in terms of work, I feel like someone who's watching me is disappointed in me.
Really?
That kind of feeling, yeah. And I really resent it because the world doesn't work like that. And our brains, when I say our, I mean mine and yours, creative brains don't work like that. And that's probably why we've struggled to find a way to structure and also be productive, is because we're shoved into this 9 to 5 structure, and then we mentally got used to it because everyone else did it. And that also, that feeling of like, when I close this laptop, they can't bother me anymore. It's like that.
No one can message me or call me or ask me a question.
Exactly that. Whereas like that, for us now, we could create that feeling at any time, but because it's so deeply embedded, it's difficult to do that. And that's why I resent it, because I've been spending a lot of time trying to find that balance of deep focus, deep work, rest, because I definitely, brain wise and physical wise, you need that rest in order to be more creative and create cool content, because that's what we're both trying to do. So it's been so difficult. And I wish I could find that structure a little bit. I feel like you're definitely one step further trying to, having found something that works. You can take that and now keep trialing and erroring on how to make it better and how to actually improve it more and more and more. Whereas I think I'm still in a bit of an experimental stage, because I'm trying to balance, I think, the fitness stuff as well, which I never got the chance to prioritize before. So now it's like new, trying to prioritize both.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think it's also a struggle because, like you said, when you're being creative, your ideas aren't going to come to you between the hours of 8 and 6. You don't get to choose when you have an idea or when you get the motivation to go and do something. And you kind of have to act on your impulses a little bit to make your content good.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think that's the struggle as well. It's, I could, fill my calendar with all these time blocks during the day of I'm going to do
Be
X,
creative.
Y, Z. Yeah, literally. Note that one down. But I will do that, and then I will switch off, or I'll have my time where I kind of finish work for the day. But then I'll have an idea, and then I'll be like, well, my day's not done then, is it? Because now I'm back to work.
To move the be creative time block down.
My calendar's constantly like this. All over the place. That's what I do a lot, you know. You know, when you're working 9 to 5, if a meeting's in there, it's in there. But I will take full advantage of just like moving crap around constantly because I can. So I'm like, if I just don't feel like, I don't know, do my editing this day, I know that there is a free block tomorrow because I'm in charge of what I'm doing tomorrow.
I made the free block.
Which is a blessing and a curse, because it's so nice to just not have anyone on your case and not have to worry about other people being on your head about things being done or just what you're doing in general. But then it also means that you are your own accountability partner and you have to be the one to make sure that you just get it done when you said you're going to get it done, which I think in the last week or so I've become a lot better at doing, just because I've switched up my structure a little bit, and I think I've just tried to organise the way I do things better. The way I put things in my calendar now is a lot more methodical than it used to be. And I heard...
What's the method?
I heard this thing a bit ago. I don't know the name of it, but it's basically when you batch similar types of work. So you know what the way we work is very, we'll be filming and then we'll be planning content and we'll be scripting and we'll be scheduling. So there's so many different things, like admin side things, front of camera, which is just uses a different part of your brain altogether. What I used to do, I used to be like, I'm going to plan this video in the morning, I'm going to film it in the afternoon, I'm going to edit it and get it uploaded in the evening. That's 50 different parts of my brain being used in one day. And that's why I used to not be consistent, because I was exhausted by the end of the day, because my poor little brain is just on overload and was like, I can't do all these things that you wanted me to do all at the same time. Now I've started batching a bit better, and actually just batching tasks. I'll plan and script all my videos on one full day. That's my day's focus. Then another day's focus will be filming. But it will make my filming so much easier because I've already planned everything. I've also realised sometimes I'll just sit in front of the camera and not know what the F to say. And then I'm like, well, now I've just wasted this entire hour because I've just been staring at myself and didn't have a word come out. So now using that structure, I can still be conversational. It's obviously all my own thoughts anyway, but I have pre-thought it and pre-planned what I'm going to actually talk about. So when I come to film it, it's a lot more efficient. So I can get a lot more done, because before it would literally take me the full day to do one bleeding video because I was planning there and then what I was going to say. Now I've actually carved out time where I'm going to edit all that content. And I make it realistic as well. I know myself, I can't sit there for hours and end editing. I hate that job anyway. It's just one of the things I don't like doing. So I split it into chunks. So then that helps me be consistent and actually make sure I get it done, but also, feed it into my schedule so it's not going to overwhelm me and make me push it back, which I have done in the past. But anyways, this video turned into something completely different.
No,
if you guys
that's
wanted
really
to know,
useful though.
yeah.
Because that's a benefit that you've created for yourself in terms of I can actually manage my calendar in terms of my own energy. That's why work was also exhausting, because I would have meeting after meeting after meeting on day one of my luteal phase, and I couldn't do anything about it.
Gosh.
You know what I mean?
That was actually so painful now thinking about it. You're having to look alive and you're having to act like you care, and all you want to do is literally rot in bed. And you can do that on your own terms, but once that period's up, how productive you're going to be and how on top form. But people don't know that at work. They don't know that you just need that 1-2 days out, and then you'll get back to the full grind when you're ready.
Yeah, it's not, I feel like it's not even, well, on top of people not knowing, it's just the lack of control you have over how your own time is spent. And I think that is a huge benefit to our current lives and our current schedules that I think I love. Because, yeah, like even the fact that you can batch similar tasks on days, and actually now your whole week is way more, not even just efficient, you feel better because you don't feel exhausted. That's so huge, because what I try and do is plan that around my menstrual cycle, because when I'm filming, I feel awesome in the week just after my menstrual phase and just before my luteal phase. Those like 10-ish days, 10, 11, 12, whatever days. I feel awesome in terms of I could sit in front of a camera, I could talk. I don't feel like I look ugly. I definitely think there's a thing about being in your luteal phase. When I look in the mirror and I'm like, who the hell are you?
Skin starts breaking out.
Yeah.
Your face
it's like
looks
I've got
warped.
like spots. I feel like I look rounder, and it's just weird.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else can, like, we can all see it in the reflection, but I always wonder if other people would look at you and be like, she just looks tired today, or something like that, you know? I think it's still a useful thing to be able to do, and something that I definitely don't miss. But I hope that this conversation was useful and not just us not missing anything. Maybe this is a good motivation if you're looking for motivation to actually take action on your own career and maybe make some moves. If you're not happy or you are happy, maybe this solidified the fact
Or just evaluate like what is keeping you in places.
Yes, yeah. Evaluate critically about what is the reason that you might be keeping yourself stuck in particular locations. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, do not forget to give us a rating and follow the show. And if you're listening on YouTube, give us a little comment, subscribe, hit the bell. You don't have to hit the bell. But if you do, you'll know when we put an episode out. And thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.